During the Great Depression, times were incredibly tough. People had to get creative in order to find ways to get food on the table. With the lack of resources available, people found themselves eating some of the weirdest and most unexpected foods. From insects to recycled foods, the desperate search for sustenance meant that many people resorted to desperate measures. In this video, we will explore the different types of weird foods that people ate during the Great Depression, as well as the circumstances which led them to do so. So do subscribe to our YouTube channel and like this video for more informational videos like this. Without any further delay, let's dive in. Prune pudding. One of the weirdest foods of the Great Depression was prune pudding. Made from boiled and mashed prunes mixed with sugar and gelatin, this dessert was a creative way for families to satisfy their sweet tooth when sugar and fresh fruit were hard to come by. Prunes were also a cheap and readily available source of vitamins and minerals during the Depression era. While it may not sound appetizing to us today, many families cherished prune pudding as a comforting treat during tough times. In fact, some recipes for prune pudding have been passed down through generations as a reminder of the struggles and resilience of our ancestors. Peanut butter stuffed onions. It may sound strange, but during the Great Depression, people got creative with their ingredients to make their meals stretch as far as possible. Peanut butter, a protein-packed pantry staple, was often used to add flavor and substance to other dishes. In the case of peanut butter stuffed onions, the nutty spread was mixed with breadcrumbs and seasonings before being spooned into a hollowed-out onion. The stuffed onions were then baked until tender, creating a unique and flavorful dish that helped families get through tough times. While it may not be everyone's cup of tea, it's certainly a testament to the resourcefulness of our ancestors. Ritz mock apple pie. When times were tough during the Great Depression, people had to get creative with their food options. One of the weirdest creations was the Ritz mock apple pie, which substituted apples with Ritz crackers. Yes, you read that right. This bizarre dessert was made by crushing Ritz crackers and cooking them with sugar, cinnamon, and cream of tartar to mimic the texture and taste of apple filling. The result was a surprisingly delicious pie that satisfied cravings for something sweet and filling. It just goes to show that even during tough times, people can find innovative ways to enjoy their food. Vinegar cobbler. One of the most unusual and frankly, unappetizing dishes of the Great Depression was vinegar cobbler. The recipe called for mixing vinegar, sugar, water, and butter together and pouring the mixture over a layer of biscuit dough in a baking dish. The dish was then baked until the dough was golden brown and the vinegar mixture had thickened into a tangy syrup. Despite its less than enticing ingredients, vinegar cobbler was a popular Depression-era dessert. Its low cost and ease of preparation made it a staple in many households. Today, vinegar cobbler is largely forgotten, but it serves as a reminder of the difficult times people endured during the Great Depression. Mulligan stew. During the Great Depression, people often had to rely on what little they could find to create meals. This often resulted in the creation of a dish called mulligan stew. It was made by combining any scraps of meat, vegetables, and water that could be found in a pot and left to simmer for hours. Sometimes it was seasoned with a bit of salt and pepper, but often it was eaten plain. Despite its unappetizing appearance and taste, it provided much-needed sustenance during tough times. While we may not need to resort to mulligan stew today, it's important to remember the resourcefulness of our ancestors during times of hardship. Milcorno. One of the strange yet popular dishes during the Great Depression was milcorno. It was a simple and affordable meal made by mixing cornmeal and milk. This combination would create a thick and hearty porridge that could sustain individuals for a long time. The addition of salt or sugar could make the dish a little more flavorful. While milcorno may not seem like the most appetizing meal, it was a staple for many during a time when resources were scarce. In fact, it's said that milcorno was served in many school cafeterias well into the 1960s. Kraft macaroni and cheese. Believe it or not, this household staple was actually considered a luxury during the Great Depression. While Kraft introduced their boxed mac and cheese in the 1930s, it wasn't until World War II that it became popular due to its convenience and affordability. Back then, a box cost just 19 cents and provided enough food to feed a family of 4. It was also a welcome change from the monotonous and often tasteless dishes that people were forced to eat during this time. Today, Kraft mac and cheese remains a beloved comfort food, but it's interesting to see how its role has changed throughout history. Loaves. During the Great Depression, bread was often too expensive or difficult to come by. In an effort to still have a bread-like food, many families turned to making loaves. These were essentially baked mixtures of flour, water, and whatever else was available. Common additions included grated carrots, chopped nuts, or even shredded coconut. The resulting loaves were often dense and slightly sweet, and could be sliced and eaten as a replacement for bread. While not the most glamorous of dishes, loaves were a practical and frugal solution for families struggling to put food on the table during the Great Depression. Dandelion salad. During the Great Depression, people had to be resourceful with their food options, and that included using ingredients that were free and abundant in nature. Dandelions were one such ingredient that was commonly used in salads. Despite being a pesky weed in many lawns today, dandelions were a source of vitamins and minerals that were essential for survival during the Depression. The leaves were boiled or blanched to remove their bitter taste, and then tossed in salads with various dressings. Some even added bacon or hard-boiled eggs for extra flavor. While dandelion salad may seem strange to us now, it was a staple for many families during this difficult time. Gelatin. During the Great Depression, people had to get creative with their food choices. One of the strangest items that became a staple during this time was gelatin. Yes, the same stuff that we used to make jiggly desserts was used for some bizarre dishes back in the day. To make the most out of what little food they had, people would mix all sorts of things into gelatin. Vegetables, fruit, meat, and even mayonnaise were all fair game. Gelatin salads, molded desserts, and even main dishes were served at dinner tables across the country. While these concoctions may sound unappetizing, they were a cheap and easy way to make a filling meal. Some families even found comfort in their jiggly creations, as they added a bit of color and fun to an otherwise bleak situation. Even today, some of these gelatin dishes can be found in vintage cookbooks or served at retro-themed parties. While they may not be for everyone, they serve as a reminder of the resourcefulness and resilience of those who survived the Great Depression. What are your thoughts on this? Do let us know in the comment section below. See you in the next one.